Do this Flash Live. I'm Ronnie Bell. I want to say thank you so much for sharing your Monday morning with us. Did you know that June is National Gun Violence Awareness Month? And a grassroots effort is underway to address and prevent gun violence in our communities. So with us now, we want to bring in Lindsay Warren. She's the Deputy Chair Leader for Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense. Lindsay, thank you so much for being with us this Monday morning.
Ronnie, thanks so much for having me. It's nice to see you again.
I know that you have been involved in this effort for a few years now. Does it get frustrating?
It's not that it's frustrating. I'm almost numb to it. People ask me how I reacted after the latest school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. And frankly, I went straight to anger. Like I skipped right over the crying and the tears and the shock. Because I'm frankly not shocked by any of it. It can happen anywhere at any time. No zip code is immune. And it's just sort of a waiting game. It's like, who's going to be next? Until we, can make some really big changes, it's just going to keep happening. So, yeah, I pretty much went straight into action. And whenever there's a big media shooting, I hate to say media shooting, a shooting that gets a lot of media attention, that's when we just jump into who can we get to join us in this fight. So I just get straight into work mode. So yeah, went straight over the tears and right into how can we get more people to join us.
So for those not familiar with Moms Demand Action, give us some background.
Sure. So Moms Demand Action was founded by a mom the day after the Sandy Hook shooting in 2012. She was a stay-at-home mom with 5 kids and just basically said, I can't handle this. I can't do this anymore. I can't just sit on the sidelines. So she just did what any mom who was upset would do. She made a Facebook page. And from there, it grew. And Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America was formally formed into a nonprofit and then eventually was brought under the umbrella of Every Town for Gun Safety, which is Michael Bloomberg's org. His org started as Mayors Against Illegal Guns when he was New York's mayor, and he had put into place some very strong, healthy laws in that city, and now that state has some really good laws in place and therefore has become a safer state. And so through the years, 10 years now since the org has been formed, we have 8 million volunteers. So we're the largest grassroots gun violence prevention org in the country, fighting for a safer America.
And we all know moms are very passionate. Is that why you joined this group?
100%. You don't have to be a mom. I like to point that out. I mean, we have moms, we have dads, we have non-parents, we have gun owners. It was just founded by a mom, just like Mothers Against Drunk Driving was. But yes, for me personally, I had an infant at the time of Sandy Hook, so I didn't really know where to start, and I didn't officially get started right then, but I knew it was something that had to change. I have a 10-year-old, so every day I send him off to school and worry, and think, is his school safe enough? Because, we know the laws here in Michigan aren't strong enough. So it's a real fear.
So with that, Lindsay, can I ask, because we know every time there is one of these mass shootings at a church or at a school, we get the news coverage, there are thoughts and there are prayers, and the debate comes up yet again about guns in America. And then it just seems to fade from the headlines.
Yeah.
So for your organization and other organizations such as yours, what's being done behind the scenes on a day-to-day basis to try to actually get something done once and for all?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And I urge everyone to check out momsdemandaction.org and click on Our Victories. It kind of gives you a little bit of hope that it's not hopeless. We work behind the scenes to make change at the local and state level. We, in Michigan, because we do not have what we would call a gun sense majority, we do not have enough folks elected who want to be on our side and pass some gun safety laws. So we're oftentimes fighting bad bills. And defeating them. So, for some states, it's a defensive game. So it seems like we're not getting anywhere, but in fact, we are. We'll fight things like, a law that would allow people to carry guns everywhere, And so it's not just an offensive game. It's not just wanting to pass, a background check law or a red flag law. It's very incremental. It's very slow. But I do think this time it may be different. I think, certainly mass shootings make headlines every time. And you're right, there's a lot of talk right afterward. But when it's a school shooting and these are babies, that affects people differently. None of this is a natural order of things. No one should be shot going to the grocery store. No one should be shot at church. Nobody should be shot when they go to school. However, I think when it hits young children, that's when people really take notice. And I do think we have a chance this time around to get a few things passed at the federal level, which would really make a difference because then all states would be covered. And, just last weekend, we heard that Congress is considering a slate of some really common sense laws that would not infringe upon anyone's right to own a gun. It would just make it, a little bit harder to get one if you may have a criminal background. So background check on every sales, maybe raising the age to 21 to buy instead of 18, just all common sense things that would just make all of us Americans safer.
Because we did see a surge in guns being bought during COVID and the pandemic. And I thought it was kind of odd that gun stores were allowed to remain open, but restaurants were closed.
Yes. The gun lobby has a huge amount of power, and their only goal is to sell more guns. They don't care about safety anymore. They don't care about hunting culture anymore. They don't care about sporting culture. That's kind of where they began, and they were a pretty normal organization back in the day, but now it's just turned into how do we sell more guns? And, there's always a boogeyman. So there was a surge in sales when we had Obama in office. Oh my gosh, scary Democrat president, we need to sell more guns. And then, we have COVID. We're all at home. What do we need to buy guns for? But every time that there's a slump, they just, come up with an excuse to try and scare people into buying more, so now it's, again, we have a Democrat president. He might take away your guns, go buy a bunch more just in case, but it's all made up. There's no data to back it up. The best part about working for an org like Moms Demand Action is our paid staff. People way smarter than me who are lawyers and researchers. They work with the CDC and do long-term research studies. So websites like everystat.org or everytownresearch.org, you can see the peer-reviewed data, not just, a gun lobby talking point. So.
And I do think that a lot of people would be surprised to know that so many of the deaths by gun are due to suicide. Yeah. So for so many parents, it's, really is a sad reminder that even if the law doesn't require you to secure your gun, if you have a child, that is a very serious concern.
That is my biggest concern, and the thing I worry about most is actually gun suicide. Here in Michigan, Michigander dies by gun suicide every 12 hours. Wow. And the gun violence cost in total in Michigan, $9.1 billion every year is the cost of both suicides and homicides. But again, suicides are the vast majority. That breaks down to $422 million that taxpayers pay every year in Michigan to deal with this very fixable problem. And so that's $461 per taxpayer that we're paying for a very fixable problem. A red flag law would really address the suicide issue. That is a temporary removal of firearms that a family member or trusted friend would petition the court. And they would say, I'm really concerned about my brother, my sister, my mother, my son, whoever. I think they're they could harm themselves or others. And then it's a temporary removal from anywhere as short as 2 weeks to 1 year. And in that time, the person would have to show that they've, taken care of their mental health, or if they were worried about them harming someone else, again, taking care of whatever was going on with them, to try and get better. And if a state as red as Florida can pass one, a state like Michigan certainly can as well. So there are solutions out there that, again, are very common sense, are not going to infringe upon anyone's right, but absolutely would save lives.
What have you learned by being a part of this group?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin. So I've been a part for 7 years now. besides the fact that it's a marathon and we, can't give up, I think it's really just that the tiniest little changes can make the biggest impact. Safe storage laws would make a huge impact, and young children not getting their hands on firearms that they shouldn't be touching until maybe the part of their brain that controls impulse is fully formed. And also just the hold that the gun lobby has had on America. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. There's no reason why we shouldn't have a domestic violence law. Someone who's been convicted of domestic violence really shouldn't own a firearm. And I think most responsible gun owners would agree with that. A background check law. I mean, if we have to go through all these hoops to just drive a car, I don't think it's that much to ask to get a proper criminal background check on every sale. And the thing is, people say, oh, no, you have to get it for every sale. Absolutely not. You and I could go get a gun online or at a gun show right now without any background check. Only licensed dealers have to do that. There are plenty of unlicensed dealers. So I think the biggest thing I've learned is that both sides of this aisle, take the gun lobby out of it, just your average American. If we sat down face to face, there's plenty of things we agree upon, besides just background checks, which we know the vast majority of Americans are in favor of. There's plenty of other things we can agree upon. Safe storage is not controversial. A red flag law really isn't, when you learn the ins and outs of these things. So we have to get past the talking points and the media headlines and really sit down and come together. No matter the side of the aisle you're on, a bullet doesn't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. A school shooter is not going around asking, hey, what side of the aisle are you on? They got access to a gun and they shouldn't have. And so there's plenty that we can do. We'll never get rid of every single death, just like, while Mothers Against Drunk Driving has very much decreased, drunk driving deaths and has changed the culture. Moms of Main Action can do the same thing. It's just very slow, but there are very small things we can do to create very big change and save many, many lives.
So with that, Lindsay, can I ask if people want to learn more information, where can they get that?
So the easiest way, there's two things we're working on right now. So we asked folks if they want to get involved with our local group, and we have local groups in every single state from Alaska to Florida. You just text the word READY to 64433, and you will be asked just one question, and that is your zip code. And then after that, you'll get invited to all your local events, any opportunity, to take action. And then the other action, if you don't even want to get involved, you don't have the time, you're a full-time working parent, you can just text the word BOLD to that same number, BOLD, to 64433, and you will get connected to your U.S. senators, and you can ask them to vote on the gun safety legislation that was just introduced.
Thank you so much for your time. We so appreciate it. And good luck. Like you said, it's a marathon.
Yep, we're not giving up. Thanks, Ronnie.
Thanks so much. We appreciate your time. Just a reminder, each week we like to highlight someone from the greater West Bloomfield community going above and beyond to improve our community. Show your gratitude. Let us know about them. We made it pretty darn easy. You can scan the QR code on your screen, fill out the Google form with the person's contact info and why you think they should be recognized. We will be right back.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
It's peaceful, it's quiet, and the noise and stress of life can sometimes disappear.
It's the Great Lakes water, and so what people do ends up in our waterways.
It's for our health and safety, it's for our economy, it's for protecting the environment that we all enjoy and we all need to survive.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
We're all about one water in this region. We're all connected. We all have a role.
And now, back to the Splash, live.
Well, all throughout the summer months, food trucks are going to be rolling into the Civic Center complex, offering a variety of dishes to satisfy your lunch cravings. Tyler Keefe has more.
What began as the getting to know you opportunity turned into tasty treats, good eats, and good company in a partnership between West Bloomfield Township, its employees, and you, the community. Much of a municipality's work is done in departments. The clerks run elections, the building department decides on permits, and so on. That's why West Bloomfield Township Supervisor's Executive Assistant Chris Darcy created Food Truck Tuesdays, an opportunity for employees of West Bloomfield to get to know each other and the community to enjoy good food and meet the people that run their hometown.
We thought it might be a good idea to have food trucks come to the Civic Center campus throughout the summer months, spring and summer months. And we just thought it might be a neat opportunity for the staff and surrounding residents that happen to be in the area. It might be a neat chance for them to come and enjoy a nice outdoor lunch opportunity.
West Bloomfield Park's marketing manager Megan Tahako says the new tradition has a positive effect on township business, connecting departments and making problems easier to resolve.
I think it just helps for when you need a resource. If you know a friendly face over at another department, it allows us as a township to work together better, maybe if we're not typically doing that on a day-to-day basis. So it just kind of breaks down some of those barriers that might be there.
Food Truck Tuesdays is also open to the public, and just as it opens a dialogue between municipal departments, it provides an opportunity for the public to interact with the people who operate the township.
It's just a more casual setting, right? So sometimes maybe if you're going to town hall, you're paying a water bill or doing something that maybe isn't super fun. So this is kind of just a casual way to get to know, some of the township employees.
I think that it's very important for the residents. They are, the constituents. It's very important that they get to see what we are doing behind the scenes, and it's a good opportunity to just get to know your constituents a little bit better.
Look, I don't know what more you could ask for. Good food and a chance to meet some of the nice people that are making your hometown run each and every day. It's Food Truck Tuesdays, every Tuesday this summer at West Bloomfield Town Hall. I'd stick around and tell you more, but I've got a sandwich with my name on it. At West Bloomfield Town Hall, I'm Tyler Keefe, reporting for The Splash.
I absolutely love some of these food trucks. Now, we're bringing this to you today because we want to let you know tomorrow the food truck is going to be Cousin's Maine Lobster. So a good way to try some new food there. So leave your lunch at home. But you know what? If you are thinking about cooking at home, summer is the season for grilling because let's admit it, food just tastes better. But your grill can be hazardous. With us now, Byron Turnquist, West Bloomfield Fire Marshal. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning. How are you today?
We are great. I remember last summer, my neighbor was injured because of his grill. There was an issue with the propane, and he suffered burns. And these are the things that so many of us just really don't think about.
Yeah, it's something that is just on your deck and that you use almost every day in the summer. And it's just as important to be safe around your grill and keep family members safe around your grill as it is around your range in your kitchen.
So I know that July is peak month for grill fires and injuries. So what are some of the injuries that you see?
Thermal burns, touching something that you don't normally touch or you're not supposed to touch. Being distracted with guests and other people that might be out on the deck and not paying attention to the grill like you should. Burns are the most common.
I do always get nervous. I don't know what it is about the grill. We're not, we don't have the gas hooked up directly from the house. I know a lot of people are able to do that, but we just do the old-fashioned propane tank, and it always makes me a little bit nervous.
Yeah, and it's important that you make sure that tank is in good shape. It's always a good idea to have a spare tank available. Murphy's Law is you're going to run out of gas when you have a house full of people and they're waiting for their hamburgers and hot dogs. And if you do have a spare tank on hand, it's also important to make sure that you store that outside, away from doors and windows. And you don't want to store that in the garage or anywhere close to the house, where if that tank were to leak, you don't want to give that propane an opportunity to leak into your home.
Okay, so I know that last week because our grill, it's like you said, it's on the deck, so it's very close to the house too. And then the backside is trees, and you're like, oh, you're looking at that, and a fire could happen like that. But I didn't think about the propane, because I think we have 3 of them sitting in our garage right now where they've been all winter.
Yeah, it's good to keep that outside. I store mine under my deck in the backyard, away from the house. So they're protected, they're sheltered a little bit, but if one of them were to start leaking, that's not going to be a real issue for my house.
So I know you guys have had some recent fires as well. Of course, it's summertime, fireworks. We're already seeing them here in the neighborhood. Do you want to talk about the fireworks at all?
Yeah, while we're specifically talking about fires, it's very important. We've seen 2 fires as a result of having a grill or an outdoor fireplace on a homeowner's deck already in the last 2 weeks. West Bloomfield Township and the Tri-Cities, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and Orchard Lake, there's an ordinance prohibiting the outdoor fireplaces. So those aren't allowed by ordinance. But for people that do use them, make sure you get them off that combustible surface. Keep them away from all combustibles, whether that's deck furniture, the deck itself, railings. Get them out in the yard, get them away from anything that might catch fire. Again, same with the grill, pull it away from the railing, make sure it's not up too close to the wood siding or the vinyl siding. And that will help give you that buffer that you need to prevent, if there were a fire in the grill, from spreading to the home.
So can I ask you, if someone does have a fire, when we're talking about propane, water, how do you put it out? What's the best way?
The best thing to do, since you have it away from anything else combustible, just get away from it. You can call 911. We're better equipped to try to get in close to that and turn off the propane if possible. But obviously, you just want to stay away from it, stay clear of the fire.
So because of the damage that it can do as well, because I feel like things are built differently now than back in the olden days, and it seems like the fire can spread like in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, depending on which scientist you talk to, fire can double in size in a minute, where that doesn't seem like much, but as that starts to grow exponentially, it will get bigger and bigger very quickly. And it's very important. It's a good idea to always have a fire extinguisher on hand. And while you may be going to get the fire extinguisher, have someone else in the family calling 911. We never mind showing up to a possible fire and finding out that you were able to extinguish it safely before we get there.
So talking about fires, we're going into the fireworks season here, which really has kind of already started in our lakes community. We talk about it every year. Be careful, but how many people ignore the safety aspect of fireworks?
Yeah, every year there's thousands of people that get injured by fireworks. You want to make sure that you use your fireworks in a safe area, again, clear of all combustibles. You want to make sure that if it shoots up off the ground, that it lands in your yard. It doesn't land on a neighbor's yard or on their deck or on their boat, talking about the lake communities. And it's very important after you use the fireworks that you soak them in water before you put them in the garbage can. It seems like every year we get a fire or two where people are cleaning up the yard of all the spent fireworks, throw them in the garbage can. You shared one picture I saw up there. That was a garbage can that was stored up against the side of the house, and the fireworks, after the homeowners went to sleep, the fireworks were burning in the garbage can, and it spread to the siding and got up into the roof.
Oh my gosh, just imagine waking up to that. You know, I don't know who came up with sparklers and giving them to kids. What? Who was the brainchild behind that? But we all use them though. I mean, they're fun, but some kids are just too small, I would imagine.
Yeah, if you're going to let your children use sparklers, keep them from running around the yard. I know it seems fun, but running around the yard with that melting piece of metal is dangerous. You don't want them to come in contact with another child. And then throwing them is also a hazard. Kids would throw them into the yard, and you're using them at night. where you can't see where they are laying in the yard. And then kids often are running around without shoes on in the summertime as well, and that poses a hazard. That metal will still be hot, and then it'll also potential just to injure from a puncture wound or something along those lines.
You know, and we say it every year too, if a firework doesn't go off, don't look at it, especially if it's one that's on the ground. We know, I think we had Dave Rexroth from Channel 7 a few years ago lost his eye because he went and leaned over a firework and then it went off and went off in his face. How common are those injuries?
Unfortunately, they are common. If you're trying to use a firework, whether it's a fountain or a bottle rocket or anything that leaves the ground, if it doesn't light appropriately, if you try to light it with a lighter and it doesn't work the way it's supposed to be, leave it there. Move to another area. Don't mess with it. If you've got a hose handy, you can soak it with water. Never try to reignite that firework, because you just don't know if that fuse is still burning inside and could suddenly take off, or if it's truly a malfunction of the product.
Okay, so what is legal and what isn't legal? Because, you know, a lot of people want to go across the border and get the real big ones that go boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, what you buy at the stores at Phantom Fireworks, they have a store on Haggerty Road. They're selling the consumer fireworks, and that's what everybody should be using. We always love to steer all of our residents to enjoy a professional show where you don't have to deal with setting it up in your street or in your. You can't set them up in your street. You need to be on your yard, but The professional pyrotechnicians are taking into account, they've got the safe distances, so if there is a problem, the public that are viewing that show, enjoying that show, are safe. Having a show in your yard, if there's a failure, a catastrophic failure, it could be, it's definitely going to ruin the evening.
Yeah, right? So, you know, because for so many people, they start to buy them not necessarily at the stores, but we start to see the tents, the roadside tents, popping up all over the place. Are those inspected to make sure that what they're selling is legal?
Yeah, they're selling the legal fireworks, again, the consumer fireworks. Stay away from buying the fireworks out of somebody's trunk, staying away from getting fireworks from a friend that can get the good stuff. Again, the consumer fireworks are designed to be shot from your yard. The professional fireworks have more safety precautions. You need proper mortars that are designed for the shell that they're shooting. And you just never know what you're getting when you buy that from your best friend's buddy who can get you the good stuff.
Right.
So stay with the consumer fireworks that you can get at the licensed tents or at the stores.
See, you've heard that before, right?
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
my friend, he had it. He's got the good stuff. You've heard it before.
Yep. And again, when you don't have the proper safety distances and they're not shooting from mortars that are designed for that size shell, you're just begging for an accident.
So one last question for you. Can I ask, is there a shelf life for fireworks? Can they go bad?
They do over years, and I think it varies from firework to firework. It's hard to say if they're a year old that you can't use them. But if you've got fireworks that have been sitting around your house for several years, the best thing to do is you can dispose of them at a household hazardous waste day.
Well, we so appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and we hope that you guys aren't needed this holiday season.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here and hope everybody has a safe holiday season.
Thank you so much. Well, that's going to do it for today's edition of The Splash Live. I want to say thank you to our guests for taking time to be with us, and to you, our friends in Sylvan, Kegel, Orchard Lake, and West Bloomfield for tuning in. And in case you didn't know, you can also watch The Splash Live on My Michigan TV, a new streaming service dedicated to telling stories about the people and places across the state of Michigan.